Welcome to the Atlanta Watershed Learning Network's video on Intrenchment Creek. In this video, you're going to learn a lot about how the Peoplestown, Summerhill, and Mechanicsville's communities interact with Intrenchment Creek, which is one of Atlanta's largest creeks, but it's really covered up by a lot of parking lots and streetways. And so in this video, we're going to show you how those things interact and affect our community.
Hello, I'm Jason Dozier. I am a Mechanicsville resident. I'm a native of Atlanta, born and raised in Atlanta, in the Atlanta area, and I've been in the Mechanicsville community for about 5 years now, and I've been working to ensure that we can prevent flooding in our communities. You can see and hear in the background, they're revitalizing or redeveloping a lot of what used to be here. And where you're at right now is in the Summerhill neighborhood. Summerhill is one of the oldest neighborhoods in the city of Atlanta. It was established shortly after the Civil War. It was actually an interracial community initially, where a lot of freed black slaves lived here, as well as a lot of Jewish residents. And Summerhill was, like I said, one of the first neighborhoods established in Atlanta. And over time, it had become a residential community. Anything you can imagine, from households to parks to ice cream parlors to movie theaters, all that was here. And in the 1950s, 1960s, by that point, the city had felt that this area had become destitute, and a lot of federal dollars came in to try to quote unquote revitalize this community in a way that unfortunately has made this community worse in terms of being part of the city and being part of the urban fabric.
My name is Jenny Hoffner. I'm with American Rivers. I'm Vice President for Conservation Strategies, and American Rivers is a group, a national group that exists to ensure that all people have access to clean water and a healthy river. We're here today at the headwaters of Intrenchment Creek. Intrenchment Creek is an urban creek in the city of Atlanta, and it is hidden. It is a hidden headwaters, and it's underneath the concrete and parking lots that sprawl out all around the neighborhoods of Summerhill, Peoplestown, Mechanicsville, and Pittsburgh. Intrenchment Creek is a typical urban creek in that it starts underground because it has been built over. It starts in the headwaters in downtown Atlanta, very close to the Georgia Capitol, and it makes its way south through these historically African-American neighborhoods that have really been the recipients of what I would call infrastructure-driven injustice.
My name is Christopher Lemons. I'm the president of Peoplestown Neighborhood Association. I'm also a Peoplestown community resident. I've lived in the community for 8 years. My family is from the Summerhill and Peoplestown community collectively. And so, you know, just seeing some of the ways that this neighborhood has redeveloped, it's not something that really makes you happy or you can really take solace in feeling good about. If you kind of see in the background behind us, you see some of the exacerbation of greed in the city of Atlanta. When we're standing here, this is one of the first communities founded for African Americans in the city of Atlanta. You know, Summerhill was specifically designed or set up for black people to live during segregation. And so just to see the amount of displacement that's happened in our community, when you look at these new buildings that are being built in the area, there's no new green infrastructure or anything to help mitigate or stop the flooding that happens in the immediate community or in the communities down the street. And so, you know, when people are getting tax incentives and things like that, where they get to stand on our backs to build and prosper and make profit, we're past the point of accountability here in Atlanta to where we need to see the right things done for the right people in the communities. There's no need for us to be building condos where people are sitting up here paying $2,500, $3,000 in rent when you have homeless sections and you have mass amounts of abandoned houses around the city. So, you know, hopefully through this video and what we're talking about, you all will get a chance to see more of Atlanta, how it really is, as opposed to how they choose to market the city in such a way where they try to make this like a black mecca, but it's really not. It's something where they stand on the backs of a lot of poor black people that create the culture that brings people to this city. So, you know, hopefully in this video you all will hear more about that.
And so now you're in the Peoplestown community, and you'll see how the flooding and green infrastructure changes have impacted our neighborhood. So we'll take a look right behind us. If you all can see, you see the permeable pavers that have been installed probably about 4 or 5 years ago. And so what the permeable pavers did is replace the asphalt that was paved along the street in order to help mitigate the flooding. So if you kind of get a chance to see some of the details, you'll see some of the gravel and everything. So essentially what's been created is that when we have like excessive rain and flooding, the permeable pavers will allow for like a level of water to sink back down into the ground as opposed to sitting on top of the more impermeable asphalt that would be in our neighborhood. So this is something that the city implemented again about 4 or 5 years ago to help mitigate some of the flooding in our neighborhood and in our community.
So this pipe right here represents the pipe that captured all of the water coming from the north upper reaches of Intrenchment Creek. It lays flat and it takes over the footprint of the historic creek. And as you can see, it was built up to try to fit more through the pipe. The problem is this pipe was never designed and never built for the large 100-year, 25-year storms that we've been experiencing more and more frequently. Once this pipe is full, the water of this neighborhood and the water of the neighbors has nowhere to go except around it. And once it gets even more full, the water within starts coming out. And so in this area, this pipe basically acts like a dam to everything in the upper watershed, and nothing can get past it without having to go through it.
So where we are now, everybody, we're right here in Joyland neighborhood at Arthur Langford Jr. We're on the back side of it to where you can actually see the stream flowing a little bit better. When we were across the street, it had already gotten grown in for the summer, but now you can actually see the impact of the water as it flows east into the South River. So just take a look back and see some of the beauty that we enjoy in our neighborhoods. A lot of times people, they try to, put a narrative on our neighborhoods that they look a certain way and that they are a certain way. But through nature and outdoor spaces, we ask that people look at our neighborhoods a little differently. So we wanted to bring you right back where we started. We started off in Summer Hill, just showing you how the water interacts with the space as it comes out of downtown. And so now we're right here at Martin Luther King Jr. Middle School in Summer Hill, and we wanted to show you a bioswale. So this is something that the community has done in order to help mitigate stormwater runoff and help stop some of the flooding. What a bioswale is basically like a trench that's been dug out or created, and then they add pieces for the infrastructure of the water to either run off or be captured. So in this particular case, I don't know if you can see that gate. That's something that's going to help capture the water when it starts to flood. And then you also see the plants that are put here. Plants help repair and clean out that water prior to it going into the sewer systems. So, we wanted to show you all part of what we did, or part of what people in our communities do in a comprehensive manner. So you've gotten a chance to see, the top of a parking lot, got a chance to see a bioswale, and you've gotten a chance to see this nature if you left it alone. And so hopefully, this can be a point of advocacy for many of us here in Atlanta, to where we continue to advocate for better green infrastructure in our watershed and in our systems as a whole.
Good morning, I'm Yomi with Eco Action. We're at Summer Hill, and I'm here to re-echo what the community people have been saying. Development is going on in the communities, but for who? We want development, but we also want development that will create opportunities for the local people to develop themselves so that they can get benefits of this development. Simply put, the community wants equitable development, not just in Summer Hill, but in all of the Intrenchment Creek communities. People are listening because the communities are not giving up. They are going to continue to mobilize and organize until they get what they want. Thank you.